They're not forcing anyone out. These are voluntary buyouts.
No.
They're voluntary, and the CIA is voluntary.
Every U.S. aid employee in the
yes,
country
they are reorienting. They are reorienting
administrative
the soft power bureaucracy, but that's different than the buyout program. They're not making anyone take a buyout. They're saying if you want to leave, go ahead.
Or you might get fired.
And some will do it.
They're not saying Plan B.
Or you might get fired.
Plan B is that they're probably going to be let go after.
Probably.
They're terrorizing Americans.
It's not terrorizing to get an offer.
As we're digging through this information, millions of dollars, way more, by the way, than they claim these are for subscriptions, but I've never seen any subscription that cost $14,000 a year. No, it's clear something else is going on here. And with all these questions regarding the deep state, the intelligence community, the national security state, this really goes to show that President Trump's emphasis on choosing individuals for the national security team that focus on reform, that focus on change, and bringing this team together, particularly when it comes to the DNI and FBI positions, is exactly what's needed. What do you say, Roger?
I think that's exactly right, Jack. I mean, yesterday was, I think, an extraordinarily important day. Two very important developments. First of all, Tulsi Gabbard getting out of committee with a positive recommendation, very touch and go at the end. Frankly, those talking about primarying Susan Collins, I think, would be making a gigantic mistake. She's acted very reasonably here. I've known her back to the Reagan days. We don't agree on many things, but there is no other Republican who can win in Maine, and I'd rather have a Republican than a hardcore leftist Democrat. And then Senator Todd Young of Indiana, I believe the president actually responsible for getting his vote in a phone call, as I understand it. It's also interesting, Jack, that J.D. Vance himself is running the vote count, the whip operation on each one of these vital nominees, RFK, Kash Patel, and Tulsi Gabbard. And you know this, Jack, her appointment just sends the deep state, the intelligence agency into overdrive. The idea that they would have somebody at the nexus of that position who can look at all of their dirty laundry and all their misdeeds, this really makes them apoplectic, which of course proves why she's exactly the right person for the job. I was talking to the president the other night, and I told him, in my opinion, Tulsi Gabbard will be the first woman president of the United States. And I stick to that prediction. You can write it down now. I'm not saying this is going to happen in 2028. I'm saying it's going to happen someday, but I have no doubt about it.
Roger, I remember you saying that the other day, and look, a command performance with Lieutenant Colonel Gabbard, of course, there at her hearing, as well as being able to show that she had the ability to pull those votes in. Now, we know Kash Patel will reportedly be going up for a vote tomorrow at 10 a.m. in the Senate Judiciary Committee. Also, though, we're being told, and I see reporting, that the Senate Democrats on the committee are trying to pull Kash in for another hearing. I think that's ridiculous. I think that they subjected him to all of the questions, and by the way, had the opportunity to subject him to any question they wanted. It's not Kash Patel's fault that they wasted their time with him on frivolous nonsense and memes in the first hearing. No, if they wanted a hearing, they had their chance. It's over now. It's time to take a vote. But Roger, from what I hear is that Kash Patel has the votes. Do you hear the same?
I believe that's true. I'm a little concerned about Senator Grassley. That has to be monitored very quickly. I have great admiration for Senator Grassley, but I'm unsure my information is correct. Look, Kash Patel played rope-a-dope with these guys in the hearing. They didn't lay a glove on him, although they certainly tried. You know what's amazing, Jack, about the left is it doesn't matter how completely debunked, disproven, discredited one of their false narratives are, they always return to them and try to recycle them over and over again. Was the 2020 election stolen? Were the events of January 6th an insurrection? The American people voted on that. That's a decided question. They like to talk about decided. That's a decided question. The American people decided that in the last presidential election. The answer was no. But they keep recycling the same garbage. I thought Kash put these guys to shame. And so they realized that they weren't able to smear him. They want a second chance to do so. It's pretty obnoxious. I think it's because they know that if this proceeds to a full vote, he has the votes. And of course, Pam Bondi, who was a great Attorney General of Florida, is going to be a great Attorney General, confirmed by the full Senate yesterday. So another piece of the puzzle in terms of having all the pieces necessary to rebalance the scales of justice in this country and return to having a one-tiered justice system in which only people who've actually done something wrong, something illegal, get prosecuted. We're moving swiftly towards that. So between Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi, this is the dream team. That is the Liberty League in terms of correcting the epic weaponization of the criminal justice system and the abuse of our intelligence systems as part of that. Those days are soon going to be behind us. But people like Norm Eisen, people like Andrew Weissman, people who know they have committed egregious federal crimes, including treason in the case of John Brennan, they're quaking in their boots, as they should be. It's not, Jack, as you know, about retaliation or about revenge. It's about the law being equally applied. It's about recalibrating the scales of justice.
Well, and so, Roger, in regards to that, there's something I also wanted to ask you about, because I know it's something that you have personally been involved in. There's this question now of not only buyouts to all CIA officers and CIA analysts, but also this questionnaire that's been sent out to all of the FBI field offices, including the rank and file agents, regarding their involvement with the January 6 cases. Now, I know people who have connections within the FBI. I'm told that this story is completely correct, that that questionnaire has gone out, that people are being asked to fill this out regarding their involvement in the Jan 6 cases, and particularly as well as the Mar-a-Lago raid there in this classified documents case, raiding the president's residence at the time. Roger, what is your sense of what the president is looking at and what he's going to go working through Pam Bondi and then Kash Patel when they're there? What is your sense of what the plan is regarding this questionnaire?
Look, I think that the president wants to get the facts because he's going to pursue justice. I can't even tell you, Jack, how many times my wife and I'll be out, and around socially, maybe at dinner, when retired agents will come up to me and say, I was one of those agents at your home that morning at 6 a.m. when the Washington office ordered us to storm your house. And I'm ashamed of the agency. I'm ashamed that I was there. It was wrong, what was done to you and your wife. It's happened like more than once. It's not just a one-time occurrence. So I think those in the FBI who are involved in these politicized, baseless assaults on the civil liberties of Americans, like Donald Trump, I mean, just as they raided his home, just as they went through his wife's underwear drawer, they raided my home. They went through my wife's underwear drawer. They marched my 75-year-old wife out in her pajamas in handcuffs in front of my house for the CNN cameras. I mean, Jack, she didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. She definitely didn't do anything wrong. It was to humiliate us, or it was to pressure me specifically to bear false witness against the president, as you know, something I refused to do. So, yeah, the rogue agents who did that need to be held accountable. You know, Jack, that when someone is charged with a first-time nonviolent crime and they have no passport and they don't own a gun, they're not a danger, they're not a flight risk, that you would normally just contact their attorney and say, look, your client's being charged, bring him in for arraignment. But no, they insisted on tipping off CNN, which we can absolutely prove, and having 29 heavily armed FBI agents storm my home at 6 o'clock in the morning, all brandishing fully automatic M4 assault weapons. Talk about over the top. Talk about a waste of taxpayer money. So I was talking to James O'Keefe about this last night. We were sitting at the same table at a great tribute dinner for Ronald Reagan. It was his birthday yesterday. And I said, James, this is a very special table because if you're indicted, you're invited.